Welcome back, everybody. So today's video is going to be going over how I got into CAA school. So, you can see I've made a little presentation for you guys. It should be pretty straightforward. So my inspiration for making this video was My Journey Getting into AA School by Julia. Julia is that's her YouTube channel. We're actually classmates. That's kind of cool that we're classmates, and we're both trying to make some videos around CAA school and giving people a good, accurate picture of what it's really like to be a student. So, my academic background: I graduated high school in 2019. When I left high school, I thought, doctor, it's the only path that's for me. So I started out as pre-med bio, as pretty much everyone seems to do that wants to be a doctor. After a while, I kind of realized the work-life balance wasn't really right for me. It wasn't the path I wanted to pursue, so I switched to a nursing major. So I switched to a nursing major, and I did that, I think, at the end of my sophomore year. So I started taking nursing classes, and then once it came time to apply to nursing school, I actually did get accepted into nursing school. So that meant that my junior year, I think it's my junior year, would have been as a nursing student. I went to the first day of orientation, and I realized it just wasn't for me. I wasn't really sure what made me realize, but it just didn't feel right for me. Something just didn't click. So I ended up actually dropping out of the nursing program. So the orientation I went to was on a Friday. The campus official start was Monday. So in that gap of Saturday, Sunday, I had to completely build an entire schedule from the ground up, not knowing what major I wanted to be, not knowing what I wanted to do with my life. But I had to pick classes because I was on scholarship, and by God, I needed to keep that scholarship. So I managed to somehow make a schedule out of nothing, and I switched my major to biomedical sciences. I didn't know what I wanted my major to be. Biomedical sciences was a good placeholder, so it was the best that I could do with what I had. I ended up graduating in the fall of 2023. It was really nice to be finally done, and I had a 3.97 GPA overall. I only got one B, and that class will forever haunt me, unfortunately. But you can't win them all, so that is my academic background. So how did I discover the program? I didn't know what I wanted to do after I graduated because obviously I went through that whole career crisis, didn't want to be a doctor, didn't want to be a nurse. I've always understood healthcare stuff, and my undergrad major was healthcare stuff. It was biomedical sciences. So I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I thought about perfusion, I thought about epidemiology. I thought about really everything you can think of. And then at one point or another, I stumbled upon the CAA profession. I can't remember specifically where I saw it first, but it's very possible and likely that I saw it from Anesthesia Sal on Instagram. She runs a very good Instagram page, and I've reached out to her personally, and she's responded back every single time. She's a really good spokesperson for the profession, I find. So that's how I discovered the program and my job experience. So I started work as an anesthesia tech in about September or October of 2023. I was just at a small local outpatient facility. Nothing crazy, but it gave me some good exposure to the field and really was able to kind of more hands-on realize what anesthesia meant as a profession. I feel like with any job, everyone has a preconceived notion of what it's going to be like. Like, for instance, I sit here and think about a lawyer. I think, oh, you're just reading about cases all day. You do nothing but read. I don't know if that's true or not, but it's just the preconceived notion. So working as a tech, I was working hands-on with anesthesiologists and CRNAs, and I was able to get a really clear idea that this is the job I wanted to pursue. And that was very helpful. I started working a little bit later than I would have liked to, but I had the school commitment, and my last semester was a easier semester, thankfully, so I was able to do it. And I've also worked at a grocery store, but that's not really horribly relevant in job experience. So testing. So during my undergrad time, I jokingly took the MCAT. I had no reason to take the MCAT. I just wanted to see how I would do. There was no benefit. This wasn't when I wanted to go to med school. This wasn't when I knew I wanted to be a CAA. I genuinely just took it because I wanted to see how I would do. I didn't look up any information. I didn't study at all. I didn't know what sections were on it. The only thing I knew was how long the exam was. I knew it was like 8 hours, and I knew there was like an hour or something. There was a break in the middle of it. So I knew I needed to pack food. I ended up scoring a 500, which is far better than I expected to do. I attribute that score because A, I didn't really care what my score was, so I was more relaxed, and B, I didn't have any of the stress going into it because there was no expectations. So the GRE, once I knew I wanted to do CAA stuff, I knew that the 500 MCAT wasn't horribly strong. So I started to study for the GRE because I did not want to take the MCAT again. I did not like taking the MCAT. So I started studying for the GRE, and I took that in September. That's another reason I started late on working as an anesthesia tech, is because I was studying for the GRE. So my score, you can see it down there. I got a 159 in verbal reasoning, which was my highest ever. That's the 80th percentile. I got a 159 in quantitative reasoning, which was below average for me, which was 50th percentile. And then analytical writing, I got a 4.0, which is the 59th percentile. Wasn't particularly thrilled with the scores, but being that I took it in September, the turnaround time, I knew that I didn't have enough time to go through, retake it again before I needed to start submitting applications. So that's what I was stuck with. And you know what? Gotta roll with it sometimes. So I had troubles early on applying. A community college that I took only 2 classes at, which was like English 101 and 102, they would not send over my transcript. So that really put me at a disadvantage because I couldn't send out my application until it was complete. So then on October 31st, everything was finally in order and I was able to send it out, but it was really late in the cycle. So I sent it out to South University, Savannah, Emory, which is in Atlanta, and then VCOM, which was in Auburn, Alabama. VCOM's deadline was the same day I was sending out applications. So like November 1st is when the applications officially closed and they were no longer accepting. So I sent it in on the very last day, which, you'll hear about in a minute. But I was just happy I made it before the deadline because I was crunching it trying to get my transcript in. So South University, Savannah, November 6th, I received an email back from them, and I got an invitation to interview. The interview date was set to November 17th. So it was short notice. Only 11 days notice, and it was a fair drive, but, I didn't have anything better to do that day, so gotta pack it up and go. So November 17th was the interview date, and it was an all-day event. I'm not really going to go into details about what happened at the interview, mainly because I don't want to not necessarily spoil the surprise, but if they've worked really hard to get a solid interview program, I don't want to be the one to have to make them start over. I don't want to make any enemies. I left feeling meh. I didn't feel great about my performance. There were some spots that I kind of undersold myself. I didn't speak highly enough of myself and let some of my self-doubt kind of creep in. I did still feel like there was a chance, though, but I just could have done better, and that was the main feeling I left with. I was satisfied, but I wasn't thrilled, if that makes sense. But everyone there was super nice. All of the other applicants were really nice. And it was overall a pretty good time. If I'm not mistaken, Julia was actually at that interview with me, so that's kind of cool. And so was one of my other current classmates. So November 20th, I got an email from VCOM. I got declined. So the rolling admissions, I'm not going to say they screwed me over. It is what it is. I wish I had applied earlier in the cycle, but I also didn't have everything ready earlier in the cycle because I just graduated. Kind of unfortunate, but they did express interest in me reapplying the next year. They didn't say, hey, we want you to apply next year, but it was in one of their emails. I kind of got that impression, which was very good. I was bummed that I didn't get an acceptance, but I was happy to know that there was at least some interest around me. That was pretty good. especially after my mediocre performance at the South interview. So I made sure to ask them, what would that look like? Is there anything I can do now? When do the applications open? And things like that. Best to not burn any bridges, and especially not until you have a firm one built. If you want to burn bridges, do it after you have a concrete bridge built on the other side of the river, but just hold off. So I felt really down about it, and I felt nervous about getting a call from South because this was the day that we were supposed to hear back from South. So I went to hang out with one of my friends. We took a little walk around outside, and I got a phone call. It was from a Savannah number, so I picked it up instantly. And it turns out I was put on the wait list for Savannah, which was not fantastic news. So in one day, I got waitlisted and I got declined. Same day. So, not really a fun thing. I emailed South about it, asking, hey, is there anything I can do? Is there anything I can further my application with? What can I do to increase my odds of turning a waitlist into an acceptance? The answer I got was there's basically nothing. You're already locked in your exact spot. Outside of my control, but, still kind of hurt to hear. So that same day, November 20th, I went home, sent out my applications to 2 more places. Because these charged a fee, I wanted to put them off unless I got declines from other places. Probably wasn't my brightest decision ever, but, it is what it is. These were my last 2 send-outs. Otherwise, I was going to call it a gap year. And just do a lot better on the GRE, make sure I got more shadowing time and things like that. Real quick note about my shadowing time. I had about 8 hours of shadowing time, so really not much. So I pushed my application out to NSU Jacksonville and NSU Tampa, and the waiting game started once again. Nothing you can really do about it. You just gotta send it out there and hope, and it is a pain. Not in the physical sense of it's such a drag, but just sitting there knowing that there is nothing. You are not in control of your fate anymore. What your input is already passed until you get called for an interview, if you get called for an interview. And that's tough. It's a really tough pill for me to swallow. But there's no way around it. So NSU Jacksonville. Oh, I left that A capitalized. Oh well. So December 1st, I get an email from them, and they're asking to interview, which is great. So I went from November 20th to December 1st, so now I have signs of life. I could breathe again. December 14th is the day they decided, I don't remember which, that was going to be the interview. I can't remember if I had a choice of days, but that's neither here nor there. So I was in store for another long drive, but there's no other way to do it. I wanted to get in the program, so I gotta show up, and I did. So December 14th, I arrive early, which I, of course, recommend that you do as well. And I did my best to make friends with everybody. I was talking to everybody, and I was trying my best to be calm, cool, and collected. The one thing I was on my mind that I did not want was I just did not want to be a standout in a bad way. I didn't want to be the one who was really nervous, kind of shy, standoffish. Get out there and get them. Just, if you're an introvert, I am an introvert, okay? If you're an introvert, suck it up, right? You can turn it on for 8 hours or however long it is. You can do it. It's just gonna suck a little bit. Find it in you and just do it for just the interview block. The moment you're done and you walk out those doors, you can crash. You gotta do it for the interview. Trust me. So, I went into it, and my mindset was, I'm not the smartest. I don't have the most work experience. I don't have the highest GPA. I don't have the highest test scores. I don't have the most shadowing. I'm not the best that they could have. So I need to still stand out. And like I said, instead of trying to weasel my way and being oh yes, it says I only worked for 8 hours, or I only shadowed for 8 hours, but here's why that doesn't matter and why I am still a good candidate. Besides, yeah, okay, you can try to nickel and dime, but you need to be confident in yourself. If you don't believe you deserve that spot, people can pick up on that. It's just the way it is. Be confident in yourself and show the confidence. It's one thing to be inwardly confident and kind of that guy who's just sitting there all calm. It's a different thing to project the confidence. If you're not confident, why would they pick you? If you don't believe you deserve the spot, why should they believe you deserve the spot? You need to have that confidence. Interview day ended, long day. I left really tired. I had a little mini crash just because I'm an introvert and I did not enjoy being an extrovert for that long. And this began waiting game round 2. There's no way around it. They told us during the interview, you will hear back from us on this day. So between then, the interview day and the scheduled hear back day, it was just time to wait. And boy, is it fun. December 19th, I got a phone call. And it was from someone that we met during the interview and we were familiar with, so I recognized their voice right away. And she broke the news to me. I was actually accepted into the Jacksonville program. I can't really describe how it felt, other than it was a very profound sense of amazement. I did my best to kind of keep it together on the phone, but I can tell you one thing for certain, which is that the moment I hung up that phone, I bawled my eyes out. I don't think I've ever felt that way before, so that was pretty cool. I called up all my loved ones and people I care about and said I got it. So it was really something. And I sincerely hope that every person who watches this video can experience that same wave of emotions. The one main thing I felt was a sense of pride that I'd stuck through it all. It was a bumpy road, but I stuck with it. And I'm incredibly thankful that it paid off. So, and here I am now. All right, so I'm 1 semester into the program. I've got a backlog of 8 videos currently, and those will be posted close to November of this year. So the videos are basically a video diary, where about every 2 weeks or so, I think they're about every 10 days, what I'll do is I'll sit down just like I am right now, and I'll go over my thoughts. I'll go over problems I've been having. I'll go over things that have been going well, what my strategies are, things I've been doing to improve, plans for the future, hopes for the future, and things like that. Just kind of sharing news. So it's, in a literal sense, it is my diary documenting my CAA journey, which is the exact name of this channel. So I do hope that you'll end up watching those and sticking around long enough to be able to see those being released. As I checked last, I think I'm at about 2 hours of video backlog. So that'll be nice for you to get to watch that and kind of see how it all works. They might end up getting released a little bit sooner than November, but I kind of think it'd be cool to release it on the anniversary of something in my life that happened CAA related, just as kind of like a, like tying it in a neat little bow. But anyway, I think that's about all the time that I have, so I'll go ahead and catch you next time. The best way to reach me is either the YouTube comments or comment or message me on Instagram. You can see the handle right there. It is my CAA Journey. You'll know it is the correct Instagram because of one of my other thumbnails is the exact profile picture there. So I'll go ahead and catch you next time, and I hope to see you. Stick around to be able to watch all of the video diaries that I've been making over the semester. But all right, catch you next time. See ya.